Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show, coming at you from the Neighborhood Loan Studio here in St. Louis, Missouri. Today's topic is, and we're back. All right, let's get into the conversation. All right, for those of you who are subscribers to the pod, you may have noticed that we've been away the last couple of weeks. The last time we were here at the Neighborhood Loan Studio, my wife Meg was with me, and Taylor, I'm just going to say it. That was a lot of fun, having Meg in the studio with me. That was a heck of a lot of fun. And actually, I do also need to say, I'm not going to say that I'm personally wounded, but the number of messages that I received that said your wife should be on all the podcasts with you. I'm getting emails, I'm getting text messages. Somebody a couple people messaged through social media, and they were like, "Hey, your wife should always be on these with you." And I think my mother-in-law actually said that should happen all the time too. So there you go. The mother-in-law listened to him. But we also took a couple weeks off. Several things were happening here at the end of May into the first little bit of June, and of course, kids coming home from school, being home for the summer, and then as well as just needing to just kind of shift. There was some travel, all of that. So we just took a couple weeks off from the pod. We're back, though, and this entire week we're going to be talking about this concept of the summer schedule, because everything shifted just a little bit, and it always takes a couple of... I'm a little bit of a creature of habit. I'm going to tell on myself here. I'm a little bit of a creature of habit. I like my specific morning routines. I like the way my days are typically scheduled, and networking days are certain days of the week. Client delivery days are certain days of the week when I'm coaching or working with my clients, whether that be in the Future You program, the Called to Success program, or with corporate clients. I just have certain days that I do certain things, and I've really dialed in a system that works well for me and for my rhythm of life. That entire rhythm got disrupted over the last couple of weeks because a big part of it was Dallas gets up and has his morning stuff, and then I normally do my either morning reading time, quiet time, exercise. I love to go for my morning walks, but then it's by 6:30 a.m. It's get up, get the kids ready for school, get them breakfast. We have family breakfast. Then it's take our youngest to school. Then it's go down and hit the gym at the sauna. So there's just kind of this rhythm that occurs during the fall and winter and spring. And then summer shifts all that, partly because I'm not having to get kids out the door. And I've asked myself this question: how much of the routine do I want to shift simply because the season shifted? So I'm trying largely to keep it the same, but there are just some natural rhythms. I'm not spending an hour and a half getting kids out the door, getting breakfast, and driving to school. So what am I doing with that hour and a half? Am I using it for more private time? Am I using it to jump into work a little bit early? Am I using it, so I'm trying to figure out what the pivot looks like. And I think sometimes what we do in our lives is, we can make the error of pivoting way too often, way too quickly when we're not seeing results. So, oh my goodness, his name just left my head. James Clear, Atomic Habits. He talks about this idea of the valley of disappointment. And the valley of disappointment basically occurs between, because we think progress is linear, like we have this thought that progress should be linear in our lives. What ends up occurring is progress is not linear. It's a little bit more exponential. And so, and Meg and I talked about this on our pod as well, but the gap between the expectation of linear improvement versus the reality of the low end of the curve of the exponential improvement. So that gap between linear and exponential is called the valley of disappointment. And I think sometimes we make the error of shifting a little too quickly, a little too fast in our worlds. But then the other side is, sometimes I think we make the error of holding on to patterns that don't necessarily serve us because we've always done them. So I don't know which it is for you, but I'm currently in this thing of like, all right, how do I need to adapt and fix and switch so that I can make the right pivots, both for me personally, as well as for my family, right? For my business, for the teams I work with, for my personal health practices that I'm getting more and more dialed in. But it's also, so then I'm telling myself, all right, I'm adapting now, but is it only a 3-month adaptation? I almost used a really stupid word there. Let's make it a Dallas Daily Show word. Adaption. That's where you don't quite fully adapt. So that's kind of the thought I have for you is, number one, are you too loose and adapting too quickly because you're not seeing the results? Or are you too stringent and you're not able, and you're holding on to stuff even if it's no longer serving you? Which of those two do you sometimes find yourself in? Can you be a little more fluid if you've been a little more strict? And can you let those molds set a little bit if you've been a little too loose? That's kind of the thought I want you to just think about today. It's simply a question to ask yourself. We're getting back in the saddle here at the podcast, but the question I just simply want you to ask yourself is, where do I maybe need to tighten it up a little bit, and where do I maybe need to loosen it up a little bit? And know that the next season's already coming and you might have to shift a little bit more. And the next season's coming and you might have to shift a little bit more. That ability to shift quickly is actually to be adaptable is actually really important to your long-term success. So it's kind of, we got to hold this tension between both, right? We got to hold this tension between adaptability and fixed. That's a weird thought. It's just something I've been thinking about it a lot just over these last couple of weeks. I want you to think about it too. Here's your positive play call. Just simply ask yourself, where do I need to tighten it up a little bit in my life, physically, spiritually, emotionally, relationally, professionally, mentally, financially, etc.? Where do I need to tighten it up a little bit? And then the flip side of that, where do I maybe need to let it go a little bit too and loosen it up? So where do I need to tighten it up? Where do I need to loosen it up? All right, my friends, that's all I got for you today. So glad to be back with you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this week's conversations. Have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.